Yeah, so I normally don't do like behind the scenes production diary type videos like this because I like my projects to come, just as they are, but I think it's kind of okay in this case since I'm taking this project in more or less a different direction. So the way Project Phoenix, which is, I still haven't got a name for this thing, and my Patreon supporters know what this is, but this is the first time I'm more or less publicly talking about it. Project Phoenix is something I'm working on right now, where I'm not going to get into too many details, but I'm extensively using animation. And it's computer-driven animation, which means thankfully I don't have to do any drawing and stuff, but it uses animation, and it uses an animated version of me as the main character. So I started writing the script for the pilot of Project Phoenix, and as I was writing it, I immediately began hating what I was writing. For comparison, I usually hate my scripts. I usually start to hate my scripts after I've already recorded them. So there'll be like times where I do an episode of Steven Universe, and once I bring it into editing, I really start to hate the script. Because I can see how it's like not working well in some areas, and then I have to edit around it, and that's when I normally start. But at that point, I've already videoed it, and I don't want to go back and reshoot. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But it's been like a while since I've written a story, which is effectively what this pilot is. It's the origin story for the animated version of me that's going to be used in the show. And so, and as I was writing it, I could you have that little internal monologue in your head of like your thoughts, and your ideas will come floating through. Maybe it's just me. And I just sort of started asking myself the sort of questions that I usually ask a story that I'm reading for a friend to give notes on, because my friends, I'm kind of, my friends know me as kind of a grammar Nazi, and fair enough, I am, I'm a man who likes his Oxford comma, or when I'm or questions that I'll think of when I'm reviewing a movie or something. Questions like, what is the point of this? Did you just write yourself into a corner? Will this have to be explained through meta commentary, or does it actually make sense on its own? Or do you have to wink, wink, nudge, nudge with the reader or the audience for this idea, this plot point, this line in the script to work the way you want to, whether it's to make sense or for it to land well comedically. These are pretty decent questions to ask of another work, and you can get answers either way, and then you can kind of start a dialogue and build from there and decide what's the best, and start to kind of recommend the best way for the writer to go, if you're talking to the writer one-on-one about this sort of thing, about it. Or they could just totally justify it, and that's fine too. When you start asking these sorts of questions of your own work, that's the little alarm bell in your head going off and telling you that it's probably time for a rewrite. And that's more or less where I found myself with this script. I found myself looking at it and just getting sort of, and I tweeted about this, just sort of looking at it and saying, why am I writing this? What is the point of this? It just felt so contrived. And then the conceptual basis of it just made it feel so limiting to begin with. It was just am I doing this just to show that I can do this sort of thing? Because the opening of the pilot was meant to be this big cinematic sort of thing. It's a narrative build up to the show. And I'm like, well, what does this have anything to do with what the show is about? This has nothing to do with what the show is about, and it just seems to be it's just a bit of a wank fest. It's just, yeah, oh wow, look at me, I can do all this cool stuff, and look at what I can do, kind of thing. And it didn't really serve a purpose, and so I'm scrapping that. scrapping that whole everything I've written of the pilot, which granted is like a page and a half of script, so it's not like I'm throwing out, you know, my life's work or something like that. But it's just sort of weird that this is like one of the few times that this has sort of happened to me, and I think it's kind of an important thing to take stock of, because this sort of thing happening is like a fantastic warning. I mean, it could have gotten to the point where I had built props and, you know, sequestered the entire set, you know, not this set, but the set I would be using, which I already planned out and arranged to use and everything. And I was gonna have stunts. I was gonna ask one of my friends who does stunts to come and help me with a stunt. And it's a good thing this idea came. These alarm bells started ringing, because it would have meant there would have been a lot of wasted time. So, moral of the story: listen to your gut. Patreon supporters will get this video about a week before before the general public does, and they'll also get to see a copy. They'll also get to see what I wrote thus far, and judge for themselves how contrived that is. If you like this channel, like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help fund this, I'm sorry, it's really late. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. If you like what this channel puts out and you want to help support it, there's the Patreon. That's about it. Beep.